Welcome back to the Horror Hub. Let's jump right into the story. Once upon a time, there was a young couple named Sarah and Jack who were deeply in love. They had been dating for 4 years, and everyone thought they were the perfect match. They were both outgoing, adventurous, and always up for trying new things. They had a love that many people envied, and they were often described as being each other's soulmates. However, after 4 years of dating, Sarah started to feel suffocated and trapped in the relationship. She loved Jack, but she felt like she was losing herself in the relationship. She yearned for the freedom to explore and grow as an individual, and she didn't feel like she could do that with Jack by her side. So, one day, Sarah mustered up the courage to break up with Jack. She tried to do it as gently as possible, but Jack took it very hard. He begged and pleaded with her to take him back, but Sarah was firm in her decision. She needed space and time to figure out what she really wanted in life. Jack was devastated. He couldn't believe that the love of his life was gone, and he felt like his world had crumbled down around him. He tried to move on, but he just couldn't shake the feeling that Sarah was meant to be with him. He started to stalk her, showing up at her workplace and following her home. Sarah was terrified, but she didn't know what to do. One night, Sarah woke up to the sound of her front door creaking open. She jumped out of bed and ran to the living room, where she saw a figure standing in the shadows. She screamed and ran back to her bedroom, locking the door behind her. The figure started to pound on the door, and Sarah could hear Jack's voice yelling, "Let me in, Sarah! I just want to talk to you." Sarah was terrified. She grabbed her phone and dialed 911, but before she could even speak to the operator, the figure broke down the door. It was Jack, and he was holding a knife. He was ranting and raving, saying that he just wanted to make her understand how much he loved her. Sarah was terrified, but she managed to keep a cool head and talk him down. The police arrived and took Jack away, and Sarah got a restraining order against him. For the next year, Jack was in and out of jail for violating the restraining order. Sarah was always looking over her shoulder, afraid that he was going to show up and hurt her. She changed her phone number and moved to a different city, trying to start over and put the past behind her. But little did she know, Jack had a plan. He was biding his time, waiting for the right moment to strike. He had become obsessed with getting Sarah back, and he was willing to do anything to make that happen. He spent his days researching and studying everything he could find about Sarah, trying to find a way to get her back. And that moment finally came on the 1-year anniversary of their breakup. Sarah was at home, alone, when she heard a knock at the door. She cautiously approached the door, and when she looked through the peephole, she saw Jack standing on the other side. She screamed and ran to the back door, but it was locked. She started to panic, and that's when she realized that all the windows were also locked. Jack had somehow managed to break into the house and lock her in. Sarah grabbed a knife from the kitchen, and she huddled in a corner waiting for Jack to make his move. Just then, there was a loud crash from upstairs. Sarah was paralyzed with fear as she heard footsteps coming down the stairs. She gripped the knife tightly, ready to defend herself if necessary. As the footsteps grew closer, Sarah closed her eyes and braced herself for the worst. But what happened next was the last thing she expected. The door to the room burst open, and a group of police officers came rushing in, guns drawn. They tackled Jack to the ground and handcuffed him, and Sarah finally let out the breath she had been holding. It turned out that the police had been monitoring Jack for months, and they had finally found enough evidence to arrest him for breaking and entering. Sarah was shocked and relieved, but also confused. How had Jack managed to find her and get into her house when she had gone to such great lengths to hide from him? That's when the truth came out. Jack had hired a private investigator to track Sarah down, and he had been watching her every move for months. He had learned her schedule and habits, and he had even tampered with her locks so that he could get into the house whenever he wanted. Sarah was horrified. She had never felt so violated in her life. She couldn't believe that someone she had once loved could be capable of such cruelty and obsession. She pressed charges against Jack, and he was sentenced to life in prison for stalking and attempted murder. Sarah moved on with her life, but she never forgot the fear and terror she had felt in those moments when she thought Jack was going to kill her. She started a new life in a new city, and she finally found the freedom and happiness that she had been searching for. Years later, Sarah got a letter in the mail. It was from Jack, and it was written in his distinctive scrawl. Sarah felt a chill run down her spine as she read the letter, and she realized that Jack had finally found a way to get his revenge from behind bars. The letter was a warning, telling Sarah that she would never be safe. Jack had connections on the inside, and he had made arrangements to have Sarah killed if she ever tried to leave him again. Sarah was terrified. To be continued. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and leave a like. Thanks for watching.